Hold up, little buddy, what is you doing? Finna go hard, hard, hard. Ice on my neck, ice on my wrist. That's for the squad.
What to do? What's up, y'all? It's your boy Elijah James from Elijah James TV, and today I'm gonna be bringing y'all another NFL breakdown. It is week 18. You know, we got a lot of people sitting out getting ready for the playoffs, but we do got a couple of games that got some heavy implications to see who is going into this year's playoffs. And today we'll be taking a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Baltimore Ravens for the AFC North champs that will be moving on to the playoffs. It's going to be a dicey one. You know, this is a division rivalry. Anything can happen. We got some interesting storylines, so we're going to go ahead and get into it. This has been hands down one of the fastest NFL seasons that I've ever experienced. I can't believe it's already week 18, so we're going to go ahead and jump straight into it. But before we do that, make sure that y'all go ahead and like, make sure that y'all go ahead and subscribe, and make sure that y'all go ahead and comment on this video as well. Make sure that y'all follow me on my socials as well, Elijah James TV, TikTok, easy_1K. But let's go ahead and get straight into it, man. I don't want to waste no more time. All right, if you're an avid watcher of my channel, you know that I have been kind of done with the Baltimore Ravens for the rest of the season. I forgot which game it was they pissed me off, but they let me down so many times, time after time after time again. So I was done with the Ravens, but we back on them now because their game has relevance. They kind of came back from the dead. They were looking like they were about to go on and have like a 3-14 season, but they managed to get to 8-8 and found themselves now in a position to win the division. On the other hand, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're 9-7. They had a stronghold on this division, but they had a couple of losses that pretty much put the Ravens back into the race. Like that last week loss to the Cleveland Browns really hurt them, and now they find themselves in this predicament. So now they got to play a tough division opponent. Luckily, they will be at home, where it is a tough place to play in Pittsburgh. It's starting to get colder now, so it's going to be a very interesting game. Obviously, we know on the Pittsburgh Steelers side, we got no DK Metcalf this game because he decided to be a YN and punch somebody in the face. So he's gone for the rest of this game, so we ain't got no DK Metcalf, which gives Aaron Rodgers some issues because he now doesn't have a #1 receiver. And that's kind of been their issue all year. With DK even in there, it's like they've been struggling to get those explosive plays. DK started to come on a little bit stronger, and Aaron Rodgers' connections to DK started to get a little bit stronger as time went on. But now you take him out for the last 2 games of the season, and we've seen how that affected him against the Cleveland Browns. Like, how do you lose to the Cleveland Browns? Don't get me wrong, I think Shedeur Sanders, he's going to be a great quarterback in this league. But it's the goddamn Cleveland Browns, bro. Like, you cannot lose that game. And the lack of receivers have been showing. Like, your second leading receiver is Kenneth Gainwell, who is the second string running back to Jaylen Warren. Like, how can that be, man? Like, these other receivers on the Pittsburgh Steelers side, they got to step it up. And then on the defensive side, the defense was getting shredded at the beginning of the year, but they have started playing a little bit better as the year went on. I feel like they've been doing a really good job of stopping the run. Their secondary is still a little bit suspect. They are playing a little bit better, but they are still a little bit suspect. So that is one thing to look out for. You still got boys on that line like TJ Watt. You got Cam Hayward. You got Peyton Wilson that's flying sideline to sideline. I do like the move that they did make to put Jalen Ramsey at safety because, hey, man, if I'm being honest, I'm getting old, man. I don't think he could be sticking top receivers like that no more. We seen what Jamar Chase did to him earlier in the year. Like, that was brutal. So the Steelers got some things to work on, but on the other side, the Baltimore Ravens, they ain't got no cupcake walk in the park either. As we all know, Lamar Jackson, he's going to be out until the playoffs. If they get to the playoffs, he's dealing with the back issue. So I recorded a video on Tuesday, but a major update, I think that came out on Wednesday or early Thursday. Lamar Jackson is actually set to play in this game. Now, however, he is going to be playing a little injured. He's dealing with the back issue. So everything that I'm about to say in the video about Tyler Huntley, I believe still applies, but that changes things a lot. I still have my prediction being the same. But however, Lamar Jackson is playing in this game. So just keep that in mind while watching the rest of this video. All right, let's get back to it. So you do got Tyler Huntley starting at quarterback. But here's the funny thing, though. They've actually been playing really good when you do got Tyler Huntley at quarterback. Granted, he's not putting up Lamar Jackson numbers. He's not doing the most craziest things. But he is providing good offense. He's not turning the ball over. And he's playing complimentary football with Derrick Henry, with that defense, so on and so forth. And speaking of Derrick Henry, his big ass, we seen him go on a rampage against the Packers last week that even put them in this position in the first place. He had, I believe it was 4 touchdowns, over 200 yards, 36 carries. Like, golly, get my boy some water. So this is one of those games where it's not like you could just look at both teams and just be like, oh, well, this team has been playing like this and this team has been playing like that, so I'm gonna go. No, like, you really don't know what's gonna happen with both of these teams. Both teams have been pretty mediocre. They've been kind of getting by. This has been a really weak division. They kind of got lucky with being in this spot. But now I do think one side does take advantage with the position that they're in, given that, you know, the circumstances. So interestingly enough, we know who Tyler Huntley is, putting it in basic terms. He's kind of the bootleg Lamar Jackson, but I actually do think he is pretty good. Like, for especially that type of offense that Jim Harbaugh and Todd Monken runs, he's the perfect fit to go ahead and fill in for Lamar Jackson. He's fast, he can move on his feet, he's elusive. He does have an arm that's severely slept on, but when he's under center, they do what they need to do to win the game. They're not gonna force nothing, they're not gonna put no pretty plays in and do the most. Actually, this year, Tyler Huntley has a 2-0 record when he has started this year. He beat the Chicago Bears earlier this year with his first start, and he was 17 for 22, which is, I believe, is 70%. That's a pretty good percentage, especially if you're filling in and that's your first start of the year. And like I said, you're filling in for Lamar Jackson, who's now a 2-time MVP, so that's not easy shoes to fill. And then in his last game, it was more of the Derrick Henry show, as I said previously. But like I said, playing complimentary football, not turning the ball over. And I feel like for them to win this game, I think that's what you got to do. I think with the Steelers defense, don't get me wrong, their front seven is very solid, but you just got to wear them down. You got to win in the trenches. That O-line, they got to do some damage up front. They got to get Derrick Henry rolling. And then obviously, the more you keep running the ball, that sets with play action as well. So you could get Tyler Huntley dropping back, throwing those passes to Zay Flowers, throwing those passes to Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, DeAndre Hopkins. They got playmakers on that offense, but it just hasn't been coming together this year. But if they plan accordingly and they plan correctly, they could do some damage. As for the defensive side of the ball for the Baltimore Ravens, I don't know with them, man. They've been so up and down and inconsistent. One week, they look like the Baltimore Ravens of last year, where they're getting to the quarterback, they're playing good coverage, and they dropping back, covering who they need to cover. But then the next week, they're giving up 30 points to whoever the hell. So I don't know what type of Baltimore Ravens defense we're going to get. It's not like they're terrible. They got playmakers on that defense. They got Kyle Hamilton, who's hands down one of the best safeties in the league, Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Van Noy. They have playmakers on that defense. So the inconsistencies I do not understand from the Baltimore Ravens. Now jumping over to the other side with Pittsburgh, you got Aaron Rodgers under center, old man Rodgers. The man is 41 years old, but he's honestly been one of the only bright spots in this team. He has 23 touchdowns, only to 7 interceptions. We know Aaron Rodgers, you know, he's one of the best to ever do it, so he's never going to intentionally put the ball in harm's way. A lot of those interceptions were kind of tipped balls by his receivers as well. Obviously, there were a couple boneheaded plays where he just threw the ball to the other team. But Aaron Rodgers has kind of been the bright spot of this team this year. And I kind of got to eat my words because I thought Unc was going to fall off. But he's been doing his thing. He's been completing the ball over 60%. He's a 300-yard passer again this year. So Aaron Rodgers is still doing Aaron Rodgers' thing. So one thing I do want to highlight is those running backs for Pittsburgh, though. Jaylen Warren has been the workhorse. He's been doing the dirty work, getting the yards on the ground. And as I said before, Kenneth Gainwell, he's the second best receiver on the team, running out of the backfield. Granted, Aaron Rodgers does like dumping the ball off to his running backs, but that also tells me that the Steelers' O-line is weak. He has to go to his check down every single time. And also, his receivers aren't getting open. So Aaron Rodgers does have weapons, which I don't understand why Kenneth Gainwell is the leading receiver. You got Pat Freiermuth. I love me some Pat Freiermuth. He's a dog. And he also got Calvin Austin III, who's like their speed guy. However, the only downside is with Calvin Austin III, he is questionable in this game. I believe he does play, especially with the season on the line. You also got Adam Thielen. I think he is closer to the end more so than the beginning. People sleep on Romeo Wilson. I was talking about him in the preseason matchup earlier. I think he's also been a good little speedy receiver as well. So all in all, this offense does have the making to do what they need to do without DK Metcalf, but DK Metcalf is that number one guy, so he brings in a lot of attention, which does open up the other receivers. But without that, they just got to focus on, honestly, Kenneth Gainwell playing their regular coverage, and it's kind of like, Aaron Rodgers, what you going to do? So oddly enough, the Ravens have a pretty good road record. They're 5-2 where they're on the road, but they're playing in hostile territory. This is a divisional game, so we're going to see how much that factors in. And then on the other side, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're also 5-3 at home, so it's going to be a clash of a good road team and a good home team. So as for my prediction of this game and how I think the game is going to go, I think it's going to be a defensive battle. We know how these AFC North matchups are always going to be. I don't think it's going to be necessarily a shootout. I think in this game, we're going to see Aaron Rodgers use his vet experience and do what he needs to do. I mean, don't get me wrong, Tyler Huntley, he's been doing a great job, but I think Mike Tomlin is going to come into this game and make it a point to have Tyler Huntley beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got to shut down Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry does not do that good against the Pittsburgh Steelers every time that they play. I'll never forget last year when I was covering the Pittsburgh Steelers, I thought Derrick Henry was going to run all over them. I think Derrick Henry was held only below like 60 yards, and they had to start going to Lamar last year, and that ended up not working out for him, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers ended up pulling out that win. So I think I know Mike Tomlin has Derrick Henry's number ever since Derrick Henry was on the Tennessee Titans. If Mike Tomlin comes into this game, makes it a point to shut down Derrick Henry, put the ball in Tyler Huntley's hands, and make Tyler Huntley beat them, I kind of think I got the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this game. We got another mediocre year from Mike Tomlin. Yeah, of course, yeah. You can't deny the man does what he needs to do to get his team to the playoffs. Now, when he's in the playoffs, that's a completely different story, but I think he's going to come up with the game plan. Aaron Rodgers is going to show that he's Aaron Rodgers and why he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Going to have some people step up. You're going to need a big game out of Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. And I think the Steelers end up pulling this game out. It's going to be a close one. It's a divisional game. I can see it being like Steelers 23-17. And like I said, it's going to be very, very cold. And, you know, for all the people that have played football, it is going to be hard to catch the ball. It's going to be, you know, not necessarily low offense, but the offense isn't going to come as easy. It's going to be hard to catch with the ball in your hands. It's cold, so on and so forth. So big games out of the running backs from the Steelers side. If Derrick Henry can get this thing rolling and they can't stop him, I can see it going to the Ravens side of things. But I'll put it to you like this to wrap it all up. There are more ways the Steelers can win this game, more so than the Ravens can win this game. And I think if Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers and that offense can come up with a way to put some points on the board and the Steelers do what they need to do to stop Derrick Henry, I see the Steelers winning this game in a close one, winning the AFC North and going to the playoffs. Like I said, I think I found a prediction score 23-17. But that's going to do it, y'all. It's been a wild NFL season. Hands down, one of the quickest NFL seasons that I've ever experienced. And it's been a great NFL season as well. We've been rolling our predictions, so I'm really hoping that, you know, we end this season on a good note. And before I go ahead and sign off, Happy New Year to y'all, man. Like, we are now in 2026. It's been a wild ride for everybody personally. And, you know, what they do with work-wise and everything like that. I appreciate everybody that has been following me on this journey. Like I said, we're really trying to get this channel rolling and everything like that. I do have to say I will be offline for a little bit. I got some life changes that I gotta, you know, take care of and things like that. But when we back on it, we back on it. We got a big UFC card coming later this January. The first UFC card on Paramount. You got Gaethje versus Pimblett. Gonna be a banger. You also got Nunes versus Kayla Harrison. I'm not gonna forget that. I think that might be the greatest women's UFC fight of all time. But I'll get to that stuff in the MMA video. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. Shout out to my boy Steve, man. As always, I'm gonna make sure I give him his love every time. He's been a real big help of me trying to get this channel jumping. So big shout out to him. Make sure that y'all go follow his channel. He's gonna put it somewhere around here where you can go follow him. Go ahead and follow me as well. Elijah James TV on Instagram. Elijah James TV on Facebook. Easy_1K on TikTok. I'll be bringing y'all some content. I appreciate y'all tuning in, and we're gonna have a great 2026, and let's get this thing rolling. I appreciate y'all. Peace.